What up, though, people? It's your man, Prof. This is Let's Talk About It podcast on the Real Ish Radio Network. Today, I got a special guest, one of my brothers, one of my HU basketball alum brethren, Dr. Michael Bean Jr. What up, though?
What's up, my brother? Thank you for
Hey,
having
man.
me on, sir. I appreciate it. And you saying, brother, that's real. You are.
Yeah, we've been in the trenches together. So to have a conversation with you, like I had Jeff on the show, you know what I'm saying? It's good. I had my boy from back home. He's a plastic surgeon. I knew him since we was kids. So it's also good. Like I like to celebrate people, but it's even special when I'm celebrating people I know. You know what I mean?
Yes,
So
sir. Yes, sir.
so what we do on this podcast, like I told you previously, I like to give people their flowers while they're here. So we're gonna start off. We're just gonna tell your story, man, and then we're gonna get to where you came from and to where you at now. So let's take
All
it back.
right.
To my knowledge, was born and raised in Ohio, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was actually born in Cleveland. And
Mm-hmm.
then at 6 years old, we ended up, when I turned six, we ended up moving to Columbus, Ohio, mainly because of my father. My father, he was a pastor.
My
So
God.
one thing that comes to mind, I from school, we used to always joke, I am from the east side of Columbus. I'm not from the suburbs. So so I was able to see some things, experience some things, but overall had a great household. Again, I excuse me, I went to a public school, Catholic school, and I had a lot of educators, that really influenced me. And in general, that's why I mainly went into education because again, they influenced me. I did not get that calling, to go into the ministry. I'm a very honest person. I didn't want that pressure. I love getting into things, not things against the law, but talking to beautiful young ladies, just enjoying life, going out with my friends. So I never received that calling, but as I mentioned, a lot of educators touched my life. So I was like, I can go into education, and from there I can touch lives as well, because I feel like preaching is teaching, teaching is preaching, and I can save lives through what I do. And honestly, it's a calling and it's a ministry.
That's what's up. Let's talk about the balance of public school and going to a Catholic school. Because in high school, I did 2 years at Southgate Aquinas, which is a Catholic school, and I did 2 years at River Ridge High School, which I graduated from. And it's definitely different. It's different in culture. It's different in just the whole curriculum. So, what did you take from both that helps you be who
Yes.
you are today?
Yes, I would definitely say that helped me to be a well-rounded person. My elementary, it was public school, and then probably still in elementary, about third, fourth, and fifth grade, I ended up going to Catholic school. Then I ended up going to public school for middle school, and then Catholic school for high school. The one thing I would say again is just you got to meet so many different people from different backgrounds. It taught me a lot. It taught me some people, that were less fortunate than me, and some people, that honestly had more than me. But it gave me the opportunity to kind of going back to your point, understanding different people from different cultures. And again, I wouldn't change a single thing. It just made me a well-rounded person and helped me to really understand people's perspective and where they're coming from. It just helped me immensely.
Dope. Yeah, I feel the same way because it gives you a different balance because you're dealing with different people and different situations. Because I noticed that to me, public school was harder than private school because when I was in private school, it was smaller classrooms. It was like, and I switched to public school. It seemed like the public schools was harder, so I thought it would be easier, but
Yes.
I got friends from both. I got friends from when I went to Aquinas and friends from Ridge, which is lifetime friends. So I'm glad I got to experience those different experiences. Now, how was your life shaped growing up as a PK?
Oh man, it was fun. I could say that. I will honestly say that my mom and dad, they did an excellent job. Not putting any pressure on me. Again, letting me live. I'm a very honest person. I was able to have those experiences as kids. As a kid, it was nothing like on TV. I was able to, go to my friend's house. I was able to go to the teen club. I was able to, do it all. So I really feel that's why I was able to stay grounded even to this day. And I didn't, lose my mind per se, because they allowed me to be me and they allowed me to have those experiences.
Though those that don't know, PK is a preacher's kid. A lot of people they probably don't know. So
You're right. You're right. You're right.
but yeah, PK, I know a lot of people that it's I don't want to say it could be stereotypical that they'd be wild because they were so sheltered.
Exactly. And you're preaching, sir. That is the stereotype. Growing up, it was always, like you just said, the PK kid, and also they would also say like police kids. But
Mm-hmm.
I can honestly say, they did a wonderful job, with that, like letting me have those experiences, letting me be me, letting me, do me, learn, be hard headed, but also, setting that tone, setting that discipline so that I had a foundation and I knew what I needed to do and know right from wrong.
Dope.
Yeah. Yes,
So
sir.
fast forward to the college years where our paths crossed. What led you to go to Hampton University?
Well, one of the things was my mom. My mom and dad, they went to black colleges. So my
Mm,
dad, he went to Clark Atlanta. And then my mom went to Texas Southern. So,
dope.
my mom, she really wanted me to have that experience. And my aunt, she ended up going to Hampton University. Her name is Patricia Hicks. And she is a diehard, alumni. So, being young, wanted to, play ball, hoop, do all those things. Well, she ended up connecting me with one of the coaches, which I'm sure you know, Ed Huckabee. And
Yeah.
then I visited. I did visit at the wrong time. I came during homecoming. So I was like, oh, this is it. This is where I need to be. I love it. This
That's
is I
honestly, it's a good time to come and a bad time to come because
right.
you
I
see
I
how
was
the energy, the life of campus is on a whole nother level doing a black college at homecoming. So you don't get the real of what it's like for the rest of the year. You know
exactly.
what I'm saying? They
And
kind of
that's
give you
how I got. That's
yeah,
exactly. I
yeah.
mean, I met a lot of people too. Well, when I say a lot, like I met Cynthia Cooper from the WNBA. She was there. Then it was a lot of people there from the real world. A lot of the African Americans that were on that show. So I was able
Mm.
to see them, and I was like, man, this is the place to be. So then again, I was able to attend a practice, and like I said, Ed Huckabee, who's from the Ohio area, and then I got to meet some of the players, and Devin Green, he
Okay.
is kind of back up, tell a little story. I was just telling my wife that story the other day when they asked him, how do you spell green? And he said regular.
And I still
And
call
then
that
we
the
used we
regular to
used
this
to call him that all the time. And he
day.
ended up going to Hampton, but I knew him from when he was at Beechcroft, cross
Okay.
paths like that. And then I was like, well, I guess this is meant to be. So that's how I ended up, going there. And honestly, it was, one of the best decisions of my life, because I say it is a real brotherhood. We stay in touch, or we might not talk for a while, but it's like we hit it right off. Or I know if I need anything, I can reach out to any of you all.
Yeah, definitely that brotherhood that we all bonded in Hampton is definitely dope because I still connect with people to this day. And it's almost 20 years ago. It's we
Right.
the 20-year being when I was in '04. So it's definitely a big thing. Then just having anytime when you're on a basketball team, you get a brotherhood that's something different. Even in high school. But college is a little different because you're older, you're more mature, and you just understand life different. Because we all had different situations that went on through our years in college, and we all had each other back, right or wrong or indifferent. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it definitely was. We was battle tested, and we made it through it, and it was a beautiful thing. I never honestly was into coming out of high school thinking about a black college, and I ended up going the JUCO route. So I was being
Okay.
recruited by Hampton, and then a couple other. I was Tennessee and Townsend. They was the only ones that was really serious. You know what I'm saying? You get a bunch of mail from people, but
Got
you know who wants you. And so being me, I'm thinking Tennessee, we're going to be a bowl.
Exactly.
That was my man going, me and my roommate, like, oh, you going to Tennessee? And then the coach got fired. You know, once the when the head coach get fired, all the assistants gone too. So that took that out the option. And then we end up, it was between Townsend and Hampton. And I went down to Hampton and and I didn't go through homecoming. I'm glad I didn't, because that definitely would have had me sign on the dotted line. But it was just, I was ahead of culture shock, man. I never seen that many black people with money that wasn't selling drugs. And I was just like, man, just the energy of all the successful people and people trying to get to it, it motivated me to want to go there. I didn't even take my Townsend visit. When I landed back in Detroit, and went back to Ohio to my apartment, I called Huck, was like, fax the paperwork over. That was before you fax shit back then. Fax the paperwork.
Right.
And I signed my letter of intent. And then I came in that summer. And so, and the brothers that I met down there, man, just even the people that wasn't in sports that I still connect with to this day, you know what I'm saying? Because you wasn't with us at first, and then you got with us. So we kind of took you out of the regular student lifestyle. What you got with us, it's a whole different ball game.
Exactly. And I mean, a couple of great points you made just around all these black people that, are about their business, you're learning. And again, I don't know if you remember, we had a history class together. And that's how I first ended up, meeting you. And you very intelligent. You would show up, do what you got to do, participate in class. You did not fit that stereotype at all of a student athlete. And then, we started talking the Midwest, all that stuff, and just hit it off, man. Like, for real. Like, you were a true big brother, man. So man, true.
I tried to be, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Me being a transfer, I was a little older too, so I had kind of been through more.
That's true.
A lot too. Yeah, think about it. I came into HU. I already had a kid. You know what I mean? So I was on a whole different. Kate was probably like 1. So matter of fact, she was at the Ohio State game. She was a baby. She was at Ohio State. She brought her to the game. So that was just. I was always had a older soul, and I'm always big on, if I bump my head, I'm gonna tell you to duck. So I'm always playing that big brother role, and and it reciprocated, because when I was in need, my little bros held me down. So it was all in line with what's supposed to happen. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah, you were a real one, sir, for real.
Yeah, we had didn't I have to had you before?
You did. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You did. Then I was thinking about something else too. I was like, when you had to go you were going to the barbershop, and I was going as well. And I don't know if you remember, you were like, well, why don't you drive? I said, man, I need an oil change. And then you were like, all right, well, just hop in. But I'm telling the truth, like 20 years later, I did have to get an oil change. You could drive, but I wanted to roll with my big brother, man. That's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to go by myself. I was like, I want to ride with Rod. And then he was like, all right, man, forget it. Just get on. Get on in. I was like, all right.
We did Capital Cuts all Saturday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And yes.
Because he's cutting our hair for free. Shout out to Timu. So we just like, hey, we have to wait it out. That was our thing.
And you're right. You did have to hide me a couple times.
We ain't gonna go into there. But I remember,
right.
You about to get your car tipped over one day.
I was, man. I never experienced anything like that.
Yeah, but that was the days, man. That's definitely
right. I appreciate it now, man. I do. I mean, you miss it. You have the memories. You talk about it all the time. Shout out to Jared Woodley, your roommate. I think about the song y'all did together. I think about that all the time. Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man. He was getting ready to hop in the shower, and he had some good lyrics. But it really was, man. Y'all held it down. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's definitely was the days, man. And it molded us so many different ways, and just, learning information and then taking it on, because after Hampton, you went and got your master's, correct?
Yes. So again, back to your point, the whole college experience and going to Hampton. So I'll never forget, it was, as I mentioned earlier, Devin Green. It was his, I want to say his senior year, right? Right. His senior year, my junior year. And
Mm-hmm.
we were at our lockers and we were talking, and Devin knew that, eventually I wanted to be a principal, but I would have to teach first. Well, his godfather, Mr. George Maxey, told him, hey, tell Mike if he works hard, if he finishes on time, he has a job when he graduates his senior year. So Devin ends up telling me this. So I was just like, okay, yeah, sure. All right, whatever. So come my senior year, it was during the MEAC tournament, and I was on the bus, and Devin ended up calling me, and he told me that he was like, Mr. Maxey, my godfather, he has a job for you, and he's a principal in Jacksonville. So I was like, okay, I was shocked, but I was going to graduate on time, had all my certification, all that stuff. So I talked to my mom. I'm real close with her. So I called her, asked her what she thought. In so many words, she said, you would be a fool not to take it. She said, you
Mm-hmm.
don't know how many students or how many people graduate with degrees and they can't find a job right away.
Yeah, that's
So
a
she
fact.
was like, I'll help you, move down there and transition, help you find a spot, all that stuff. So I ended up moving to Jacksonville, Florida, and I taught under, Mr. George Maxey. I taught history grades 6 through 8. And you have to have your master's in educational leadership in order to be a principal. So while I was there, I attended, to answer your question, Nova Southeastern University, and that's where I got my master's in educational leadership.
Dope, dope. So where did you go
Yeah.
from there to get your doctorate? Because you're
Yes,
doctor
sir.
big.
Yes. So after that, I want to say my third year in teaching, I was, just having conversations and talking with myself. And I was trying to decide, like, okay, I want to be a superintendent, or I want to go into higher education and be a president of a college or university. And one of the things was, I know at that time, and even now to a certain extent, it was like I'm young, but I knew, like, being a black male, I was like, I have to get my PhD because that will at least get me a seat at the table. And
Okay.
you and I both know, like, as a black male, yes, we have to work twice as hard. We have to, we're held to a different standard. I'm okay with that. I can handle that. But it was just like, okay, I need to go ahead and get my PhD. So again, as I mentioned, I can just have a seat at that table. So I ended up going to Capella. I want to say maybe I started in 2009, 2010, and I majored in educational leadership and higher administration. So that gave me the option to stay in the K to 12 system, or I could, transition into college, be a professor, and then eventually, God willing, be a president.
That's what's up. That's what's
Yes,
up.
sir.
Come
Yes, sir.
from a Harvard job. They say this he about to retire. You go ahead and go back to Hampton, man.
You know what? I was like, that would be a dream come true. I mean, I'm honest with myself, as we all are. I was just like, I don't have all the experience, but I was like, if I find out how to apply, I will apply. I will.
That's dope. We're gonna take a break for our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
This
All
episode
right.
is powered by the Teaching Playbook written by Dr. Michael Bean Jr. If you're an educator or instructional leader, this book is for you. This book can be purchased in digital and physical form. Go over to Amazon.com and search the Teaching Playbook. Now back to the podcast.
Yeah, we back. So let's get into this book you wrote.
Oh yes, yes. So I started. I want to say, um, summer of 2019 is when I started. So my thing is, you read a lot. Education changes every 2 3 years. There's something new that comes out, all of that stuff, and sports played a very big part in my life. And in sports, as I always say, in order to be great, you have to have a solid foundation. You have to have the fundamentals, and that can kind of get frustrating in education. And especially when I was a principal, it was something new, every 2 to 3 years. So I said I wanted to write a book, and so the foundation that was set for me going back to Mr. Maxey when I taught in Jacksonville, it was very simple and it stuck with me throughout my educational career and when I was a principal. And overall, for the most part, I had success. So I was like, well, I want to write a book. I'm always going to be me, kind of as we were talking earlier.
For
I
sure.
said I'll write a book that's, it's called the Playbook, that relates to sports and just building that foundation for a beginning teacher or for a teacher, that needs help. And what really kind of inspired me was when I was when I first started in the college, on the college level, I was working with student teachers, and I was actually able to get into the classroom and observe those student teachers. So I was like, it's perfect. I could do something that relates to online learning, keeping up with the time. But I was like, you're always going to have teachers that are going into the profession, their first, second year educators. And I was like, it would be the perfect foundation. So COVID rolls around in about March. And one of the things that really hit home with me, again, sports, I was listening to All the Smoke podcast,
Mm-hmm.
Matt Barnes and them, and they had Tracy McGrady on. And one of the things that stuck out to me, that Tracy McGrady was saying was, he was like, if you don't come out a better person with COVID through this whole pandemic, or if you don't do good in the world, he said, you did not take full advantage of this. So with that being said, all my classes transitioned online. So I was at home more. I have two girls, Michaela and Mackenzie. They're 4 and 6. I was also a teacher, teaching them. And I was like, this is the perfect time to finish the book. So I basically, was on the computer typing away and I finished the book. But a funny story, how it ended up getting published. What my wife did was, her name is Allison, what she did was she went on a computer, ended up taking the book, and then the artwork was done by one of my friends who I went to middle school and high school with, Jimmy Neal, who drew it. She asked me to send him that, but she had already went on my computer, took the book, and what she did was she got it edited and published, and she gave it to me for Christmas. So I
Dope.
didn't even know that. Now, again, you know me. Some people may say I am cheap, but I like to say frugal. I'm frugal. So I was just trying to find the right publisher, get find the right editor, get the biggest bang for my buck. But my wife took care of me, and that's how the book ended up, getting published.
That's dope. That's dope. So you think that's something that entry level and already somebody teach that's been in there for a few years. Again, I read it this morning. I actually purchased it, the digital version on my Kindle app or whatever, and I
Nice.
checked it out this morning. Oh, definitely, I do my homework
Yeah,
now. I'm not.
support,
Oh,
man. I
yeah,
appreciate you.
for sure. I know it's a free one. So and you broke down different key points, and I see you kind of use one of our basketball acronyms in KISS. Can you break that down? What the KISS mean into your book?
Yes, yes. So again, us being us, we had a great coach by the name of Coach Bruce. And the reason not, and I'm not even saying like, the X's and O's of things. When I say a great coach, he was always honest, at least to me, he was honest. He would talk to me. A couple times I watched film with him, and I'll never forget when we would overthink things, he would always say KISS, which was keep it simple, stupid. And I'll even go back to I don't remember the young man's name, but he played, I want to say, at South Carolina State, and he had game, but he would tell us how to defend this guy on the post. But he told you, you were like, no, I got it. I'll do it my way. And he said to you, he was like, I live by it. He said, I'll keep it simple. If it works, you do you, Rod. If it doesn't work, you coming out to sit next to me. And this is no lie. it worked how you were playing. Like you just didn't let them feel you. You were moving around. You had your quick feet. And that was
Mm-hmm.
something else that, that just really stuck with me. Like every level you go, you just have to have those fundamentals. And getting back to your question, that's exactly what it was. So I would refer to my students when I was a principal. I was a principal in East Cleveland. It was a K-8 school. We had about 600 students, and it was keep it simple scholars, and that's what I called my students, scholars.
Mm-hmm.
So again, having that foundation, keeping it simple, I would have my students create goal sheets. So what that would do is hold them accountable. Going back to the story I just told, hey, yes, you can do you, Rod, but if you don't, you're coming out. You're holding yourself accountable. You know what you need to do. You know what you have to do to help us win. So many times, a lot of those things, yes, the educator has to educate our students, but as a scholar, you need to know what reading level you are on. You need to know what math level you are on. And from there, that's how you hold yourself accountable so you know what you need to do. And so many times, our students, our scholars that look like us, they don't know what they need to do. They don't know what reading level they are on. They don't know what math level they are on. So that's how I started with that. Like, okay, let's just keep it simple. Let's have goal sheets. Let's see where you are at, and let's see where we're trying to get you by the end of the year. So again, that was something else I lived by that stuck with me, as I've grown and gotten older, even in my profession.
Dope, dope. That's definitely. See, it's crazy how you always can correlate sports back into anything. You can always use a
Totally agree.
parallel. That's definitely what he told us. Just keep it simple. Sometimes we overthink things or we overprocess something that doesn't even need that much, and that's definitely a good key to have in your book as far as education, especially in our community where we're undereducated and we taught a lot of BS that doesn't really even help us. So we definitely need more teachers that look like us, and then we definitely need one with the proper tools to educate our kids. So the book is definitely a must read. I went through it today, and I'm not even in the teaching field, and I'm actually going to gift one to my little sister. She's a teacher. She's a counselor for K-12 online school, and this
Okay,
is
that's good.
I'll see how that spreads. But it's definitely I'm proud of you for one, because to write a book is a big thing. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people started one and never finished one or wanted one, and that's good that you took advantage of COVID. Um, I believe exactly what T Mac said, because you have all this downtime. It's time to accomplish something. To sit on your hands for
Exactly.
8, 9 months and don't come out of it with nothing new, or you done created anything, or you got caught up in what you was behind on, is you was just wasting life. And
There
then
you go.
I'm very adamant about that, like to try to keep everything pumping, because there was so much going on, especially in my life. I had so many different hurdles to jump, but we were still building and still progressing to try to keep different things going. So that's definitely a big thing, man. So if people that's looking at the book, I know that it comes out as a physical book, a soft cover, and it's also digital. So where they got to go to find it?
They can go to Amazon.com, and you could type in my name. You could type in Dr. Michael Bean Jr. It should come up, or you could type in the Teaching Playbook, and it would come up. And that was, very helpful. With my wife, from the perspective of Amazon is simple, it's easy for people, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why we did that. And I did both because one of my plans is I'm teaching a course, not this semester, but next. And I work with student teachers. So I want to use that book in my course. And again, sometimes a lot of the students, I realize they talk about how they're overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. I have a lot, because again, it's not just my class. They have, 16 hours, maybe even 18 hours. And again, I think that would help from the perspective of, okay, let's just keep it simple, keep students first. And then from there, we can, grow from that. So I'm looking forward to incorporating that into my course as well.
Yeah, that's definitely big. So if y'all teachers, upcoming teachers, or you teachers already in the educational system, man, it's definitely keys and tips that can help you on that. And make sure y'all go check out the book. I got my copy. I got the digital copy because I didn't want to wait for it to come. I'm just
Yes,
impatient.
sir.
So I went ahead. cop the digital copy. And I already done been through it and I think and if you really pay attention to the actual different breakdowns, it can be used parallel, not in just education. It can be
that
used in business as well.
I
So
totally agree.
it's definitely
I totally agree.
and for all my people that just got all these Amazon gift cards for Christmas, go on over to Amazon.com, search Dr. Michael Bean Jr. and cop the book. And if you got a friend or family member in education, cop it for them. Be the gift that keeps giving. And
Yes,
that's
sir. Please do. Please do.
what we got to do is support our own. See, I don't just talk it. I don't
Yes,
just
sir.
talk. I was just talking. So I got it right here on my Kindle reader. I don't know if y'all can
Okay.
see it. Yeah, you see it?
That's right. That's right.
Right,
Yes.
right over there with Jay Prince's book, the Art of Respect. You know what I'm saying? So
That's right. No, I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it.
yeah, definitely. And if you cop the book, make sure y'all post it and tag me in it so we can share. Let's put some energy behind it because we good at putting energy behind negativity. So there's some positive stuff. We got a young black man that just created a book that's coming from the inner city and got his doctorate. So that means he had to go to college 3 times to get a doctorate and then put out a book to help educators educate our future leaders. So that's a big thing, man. And I don't want to keep harping on it because I know you, but I'm very proud of you because, like I said, this ain't easy. The boy got a book. The boy
Thanks,
got a
man.
book.
And I mean that. I share my feelings, especially as a man. I don't mind, and as I get older, I really appreciate it, Rod, and that means a lot coming from you because you are a straight shooter, sir. So I really appreciate that, and your peers, that means a lot coming from you, man. And you've always been supportive, like even having me on here. So it's just good to be around the positive energy. So I thank you again, and I can't thank you enough.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Anytime you drop any more books, just let me know. I'm gonna definitely copy support it, and we're gonna come talk about it. Because this, like I said, this is what this podcast is about. This one, because we got a network with different shows, but this shows is to give people their flowers while they're here. You know what I'm saying? Celebrate you. Because in our culture, we wait till somebody pass away to show them love. So I'm big on showing you the love while you're here. So you here and breathing, and you can accept it, and you can smell these flowers that we give you, and we salute you for all the work that you've put in, and the future work that you're gonna put in.
Thank you very much, man. It means a lot.
Man, for sure. So give my people your social media handle so they can follow you on IG, Twitter, wherever you at.
Okay, like you said earlier, you're an old soul. I'm an old soul too. I have to adjust to this social media, so I actually had to look my name up. But
That's horrible.
it is. I'm learning this social media, but you can find me at Mike Bean. If you just type in Mike Bean, it should come up right away. I also have my own consulting company, which is GS Consulting, and that is the logo that I actually use. And then I do have Twitter. It's Dr. Bean JR7. But again, if you just search Dr. Michael Bean Jr., my Concord will come up. I'm real big on social media from the perspective of LinkedIn. So you can find me right there. Just type my name in and it'll have all my information, my email, even my phone number. And that's how you can contact me on the professional network.
Dope. And let's touch on this before we get out of here. What all do your consulting firm offer? What services?
Um, yes, well, right now we've been doing a study, me and this young lady by the name Dr. Anita Reynolds, about the co-teaching model. And I was real big on co-teaching. And again, to keep it simple, when you have a paraprofessional in the classroom, sometimes you see the paraprofessional is the one that is making copies for the teacher or they're grading the work for the teacher. So I'm real big on when you walk into a classroom, you should not be able to tell who the paraprofessional is and or who the teacher is. So we've done research on that, but showing you how you can effectively use your paraprofessionals, how to group students and differentiate instruction, because you may have a student that is in 8th grade, but they're really on a 6th grade reading level. So how do you group that student so that you can meet those needs? So again, specifically, as you mentioned, consulting, how to help students grow, how to meet the needs of students as a principal, how you can meet all those standards as it relates to state testing, all those things. Whatever you need, I can do.
That's definitely dope. So appreciate you stopping through. Everybody that liked it, that watched this on Facebook Live, make sure you like, share it, share with all your people. If you're on YouTube watching, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get an alert every time I drop a new episode. And all the DSPs, we're on iHeart, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio. Make sure y'all check us out on all the DSPs. And you also can download our personal app. The Real Ish Radio app is available for free at www.realishradiooapp.com. Download the app, then you have everything, our shows, our videos, everything right there at your fingertips on your phone. And this is another episode of Let's Talk About It. I'm going to catch y'all next time.